get things started. We've got the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the,
Yeah,
minutes, right?
Approval of the
Yeah, just
agenda
first.
first,
Yeah,
and then
sorry.
we approve the minutes.
Yeah, I motion to approve the agenda as written.
Yeah, I second that motion.
All right, we have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now, approval of the minutes. Anyone have anything they haven't already provided? Then I will entertain a motion for
Okay.
July 8th.
I move to approve the minutes as listed here.
All right. Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. No consent agenda items. No administrative session. We just have one legislative session item where Springville Community Development requests an amendment to Title 11, Chapter 6, Article 134, accessory dwelling units to allow internal accessory dwelling units in single-family attached dwellings.
Hello. All right, here we go. Make this short and sweet. Should we time this one? What's our record?
We have a much shorter record that,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do.
yeah.
Oh. Crushing
Sorry.
dreams, hope left and right. Thanks. All right. So Springville City amended their code in 2020 to allow for internal and detached ADUs in all single-family detached homes back in 2020. This was a push from the state that also was mandating that cities allow ADUs in some residential units. We saw no reason why we shouldn't allow them in all for single-family detached dwellings. And so at that time, that's what we did. We did come back and address them in 2021, but that was just to clarify some provisions in lot regulations. It didn't change the accessibility of them or anything. So along with that, we have, since that time, issued 54 accessory dwelling unit certificates. We know that there are probably ADUs out there that existed before any of this came up. People had basement apartments and all that we don't know about. We're not worried about really, hammering down on those people. We have had a lot of the Westfield Central projects that have been built with ADUs in them, ready to go, walkout basements, so that they were both to provide an additional unit and also to provide a way to offset the cost of the mortgage by being able to rent that secondary space. So now, because I always just kept asking, well, why do we care if a twin home has a basement apartment if they've got room? We're here tonight. So we are proposing that we allow internal accessory dwelling units in attached single-family homes. So therefore, if you have space in your basement apartment, a basement in your townhome or in your twin home, you could get that as an ADU and help to either provide additional dwelling and also to offset the cost of purchasing your property or just for whatever reason. We are holding off right now on looking at detached ADUs simply because in a twin home, usually the lot is smaller, and we don't know that that would necessarily be conducive to maintaining the lot requirements that we have with twin homes. They're already pretty tight on our lot sizes with twin homes, so to allow an additional detached dwelling may be a little bit too much. So right now, we just wanted to go with the internal ADUs, and that is what this does. So it's pretty basic. I will now wait for questions. Oh, look, I never do my dang presentation. So this is the current, I just talk, Josh is always like, have a presentation, and I'm like, okay, why? Okay, so currently we add them in single-family detached. They can be either internal or external with the detached units. They are allowed in all residential zones, and one of the units must be owner-occupied. nothing will really change. We will allow them in twin homes or townhomes now. They will only be internal units. Once again, allowed in all residential zones, and one of the units must be owned and occupied. So same provisions, just allowing that if you happen to be in a detached single family, you will be able to utilize that same.
And you
Mechanism.
said something about parking, right?
Yeah. So the parking requirements stay the same. If you look at the red lines in your packet, if you, let's see, I'm trying.
B3 is
Thank
parking.
you. B3 addresses parking for the if you're adding a dwelling unit that says you must provide at least one additional on-site parking space for an ADU, and then which is above and beyond the parking for the home, and so if they can't meet that requirement, then they will not be allowed to have an ADU. We don't allow them to use on-street parking to meet that requirement of the one. So if the renter does happen to have two cars and one is parked on the street, then that's fine as long as there is required, if they have the one required parking space.
I just wanted that on the record so that we at least talked about it.
Yes, of course, of course. So,
Everybody has access to the packet, or at
That's
least
true.
today.
I know, and
Okay.
not everyone wants to read my exciting staff report.
Mhm.
So thrilling.
Anyone have any clarifying questions?
I had a question, but this is like, I don't have any issues with it, but I do have a question. Later on in the code, it says that the entrance locations are to be on the side or rear
Mm-hmm.
to any accessory dwelling unit. Is there any interest or possibility in the future that we would allow front-facing entrances to ADUs?
That is a good question that I don't have an answer to. I don't particularly see an issue with it. And so, but I don't know I don't know what the impetus was to put that in the first place,
Yeah,
back when the code was written and we were allowing them. Other than I think they want to maintain the character, make sure that the home continued to look like a single family home rather than looking like a duplex or a multifamily. So that would probably be a question that would be good for Josh to address if we get to that point.
Thank you very much.
You bet.
All right, since this is a legislative item, we will open a public hearing.
Seeing that no one is approaching for the public hearing, I motion that we close the public hearing.
And second the motion.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay, discussion? Motion?
Anybody heard any feedback from the public, general public? What is everybody, I mean, are we expecting a big increase in this type of thing?
Okay. We did have one gentleman who had applied for a building permit, and he was adding, he was doing all of the necessary work in his basement, and then he was asking one of our building inspectors about what he needed to do to get an ADU, and was told, well, we don't allow them in twin homes. And he was like, why? That's ridiculous. It's like, I've got this big basement area. So I think that I don't think there'll be a huge rush. Like I said, we've only had 54 in the period of time that we've had them since 2020. And like I said, the majority of those have come from new construction. And so we're just trying to stay ahead of the game as far as knowing that the state is always looking at mandating cities to do more for moderate income housing. And this was one of the implementation strategy, or one of the items that would help us with our implementation strategy for our moderate income housing plan. So I don't know that I don't think you'll see this huge rush
Right.
for it, but it's nice to know that people do have that option, because then a twin home truly can become something affordable. And the twin homes are usually a little bit larger than a townhome, but even a townhome would, allow someone to be able to maybe be there and be there for a longer period of time and have some.
How does this
facility.
work with HOAs? Would it supersede, would the city
No,
supersede?
HOAs are not allowed to disallow them by state
so-
code anymore.
Huh.
Now, there may be, and this is what I'm not sure about, and I've never been around anyone that would know the answer when I think of the question. But if the HOA was there prior to, that may be enforceable, but I don't believe that they will even allow that. That if the ADU is allowed in a residential neighborhood by zoning, that the HOA has to allow it. I do not know that for sure, but I believe that's the language that I've seen in many of the legislation that has come before the state as they've dealt with stuff to make sure that HOAs can't go in and prohibit a lot of the things that the state is trying to do to make housing more affordable. So it's an assumption on my part, but I can make sure and
Yeah.
double check for you.
I know in the professional arena, talking to a lot of builders, they're trying to find ways with for sale product to allow people to either capture equity or qualify for homes. And this is one way, if they were to offer an upgrade or a package where someone could put in an internal ADU, it would allow that home buyer now to count that rent towards their mortgage so that they can qualify for more housing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that always makes me a little bit nervous because, if they aren't able to rent it, is that a problem? But, I let the bankers handle that part. I just handle the zoning. And I think, but I agree, it is definitely something that if someone looking to purchase a home or to build a home, knowing that, and they may already have a renter lined up, and so they're set and good to go, and I'm sure that the banks are aware of that. They're
Yeah, I
way
know
smarter
some-
than me.
I know some builders are lining up the renters beforehand, so
Yeah.
then they can, people can qualify. I have a question about since it's a twin home we're talking about now, a twin home's a different kind of relationship than a detached home, because as a twin home, you're kind of sharing, the same space, a lot closer than you would be on a detached home. Have they had any feedback on whether that's been a problem with the twin homes? Like,
No.
for example, I own Unit A.
Uh-huh.
I bought it, I'm ready to go, and then someone buys Unit B, and all of a sudden I've got an upstairs, and I've got a downstairs, and I've got, 6 people living in the basement, 6 people living upstairs.
Yeah, and so first of all, they
I
are
have
governed.
no ability.
They are governed by the same. You cannot have more than 4 unrelated people living in either dwelling. So there is that. That is still maintained. We haven't, and I think that people are kind of aware that what they're doing when they buy a twin home, that they are buying a space that has, a shared wall, and they are very close, and often they share a driveway that may only be separated by a hedge or a line in the cement, and that they are aware of that when they purchase. So,
I was just curious if
Yeah.
anyone had commented. I think it's a great thing to do. that's always a challenge when you get to that point.
yeah, and, we have people who in the R110 on 10,000 square foot lots who are mad about what their neighbor is doing on the other side of the fence that they can't even see. So, I don't know if I should have said that on the public record, but, you're always going to have a neighbor. You're always going to have a neighbor that's upset about has an issue regardless of that. And so, I think that the benefit outweighs any of those concerns that we have. So.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Any urge to make a motion?
I motion that we. Oh, yep.
If
We'll
you're
read it. I motion. Okay. I Move to recommend adoption of the proposed amendment to Title 11, Chapter 6, Article 134, accessory dwelling units to allow internal accessory dwelling units in single-family attached dwellings.
We have a motion
I second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. And will now go on to be recommended to the city council.
Have to be on the. One thing, the Utah APA conference is coming up in October. It will be up at the Gateway. It's only 2 days now rather than the one that was in the spring up in Logan. And they do have a specific citizen planner track. So if you, it does, yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Well then, never mind. I'm way behind everything. So, yeah. So that's about it.
Great. We don't have anything else.
I move that we adjourn.
And we have a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.